What is etching, and can paint correction solve an etching problem? Etching takes time. It's a process of, it's something that embeds itself and etches itself into your paint. We have our same paint system I showed you in the last video. We have our clear coat, our base coat, and our primer. Underneath that, the countertop would be your metal or your plastics. So when a water spot ends up on the surface, what's left over is minerals. The minerals are what's etching. Now, they etch because when things get hot, they expand. So picture that little circle is a water spot, right? We're going to put it on the edge over here. That's your water spot. This expands and opens, and then it contracts and pulls it deeper. Expands and opens, contracts and pulls it deeper. Expands and opens, contracts and pulls it deeper. Every time it gets deeper and deeper within the paint, past the clear coat, into the base coat, will even go past your primer and into the metal surfaces or the plastic surfaces that are underneath, depending on how long that's there. So the answer to the question, can I fix it, is how long has it been there? If it's been there so long that it's etched past the clear coat, no, I can't fix it unless we repaint. If it's been on there so long that it's gone past the clear coat, the base coat, the primer, it's in the metal, you have to get it out of the metal, otherwise it will show after your painting process. Ask me how I know. I've seen it. This happens with rock chips too. When the front of a vehicle gets rock chipped to hell, now that's not etching, but the rock chips cause damage in the paint if they don't properly level that metal, not paint, excuse me, the metal. If they don't properly level and prep that metal, you'll see the indents from the rock chips after the paint job. We're talking on a level of detail here. I am a detailer. We provide high-end services, all the way up to show cars, SEMA cars, things like that. So we're talking about the OCD tick in people, right? So when it expands and contracts and gets deeper, that's the sun doing what the sun does, which is ruin everything, except for your skin, as long as you take care of it properly. But it'll ruin that too, give you cancer. So the sun comes out, gets a little deeper, gets a little deeper, gets a little deeper, gets a little deeper. And eventually, we get all the way through the paint. We've ruined the paint. We've ruined the clay. I gotta separate this because I'm OCD. I don't want my clay to be mixed together. But what happens is it'll etch past the clear coat. Now, if it doesn't etch too far, we ruined my clay. If it doesn't etch too far, yes, you can fix it. This happens with tree sap, water spots, bird poop, eggs immediately crack your clear. There's no fixing that, but the leftover egg will also etch. Basically any contaminant, even an alkaline cleaner, because we've got cleaners that are on the surface. Those will also expand with the paint and contract and etch. So in the scenario where I have a water spot, ooh, that's even better. Boom, I have a water spot. The minerals in that water spot aren't too bad. We come through, we do a paint correction. Boom, that water spot's removed. Acids will also remove water spots. It does it with a chemical reaction. So it will actually pull and draw the minerals out of the paint. That is another way to remove water spots. Doesn't always work if they're etched bad. So if they're etched really bad, and I'm going to try to give you a visual representation of what we'll be sacrificing here. If they're etched into the paint or into the clear coat, quarter of the way through, you'd think, oh, I'm going to have to take a quarter of the clear coat off. Yeah, not necessarily, depending on how far they're etched and what processes we use. We can open the paint, which we can do very easily with a rotary, by introducing heat. This is called heat cycling. So we can actually expand and open the paint and begin to remove those. We can actually expand and open the paint and then use a water spot remover sometimes too. If they've etched too far and you expand and open the paint and remove them, sometimes you'll have water spot that's deep that you removed with your paint correction process, but in actuality, we still have, because that surface looks like it's done, right? That surface looks like the water spot's done, but we have etching still there. So what will happen is it will expand again when it heat cycles, contract, And sometimes the minerals will come back to the surface and they'll re-show water spots. We call it ghosting. Water spot, well, I call it ghosting. I don't know if that's a technical term, but the water spots will come back. That can happen after you've ceramic coated a vehicle and removed water spots. The water spots can return. So it's super important to heat cycle the paint, to open the paint up to remove these. And again, sometimes they're too deep. And it happens a lot in my state. We're in the state of Washington. I'm going to show you a photo after I get done talking too much. I'm going to show you a photo of an etched pine. It was partially a pine needle. We've removed the pine needle. We've removed the pine. We've removed the sap. But there is still etching in the paint. And I'm going to show you a photo that demonstrates this. It actually lifts. So you can see the etching around. And then the inside of it is higher than everything else, creating a ridge. So that when you sand, you have to be careful because you're sanding that ridge. And it becomes part of the paint. It's actually etched into the paint. So can it be removed? No, this one has gone too far. We can level it out, but if you look at it with an inspection light, you'll always see it. I'll show you that in a photo in just a second here. So here we have that etching I was telling you about. You can see very clearly now that I've amplified the photo that you've got the actual contaminant in the center there, and on the outside you can see all the etching. That's the line you're seeing that almost looks very clear, like there's nothing in it. That's the lifted clear that it's etching into. You can heat cycle this and possibly remove like 80% of it, but this is etched pretty bad.